and welcome to the program Inside Abuja. On today's episode of the program, we will be looking at intervention by the Federal Capital Territory Administration on issues involving the mutual coexistence between farmers and herders community. Those who are very observant will know that since the controversy between farmers and herdsmen began and even intensified in the north central region, the FCT appeared to be like some safe haven for both parties. In the FCT, the farming communities as well as those who are nomads are living extremely happily. Today we will be trailing this success story, the reasons behind these, and why is it that most of the issues happening just all around the FCT appear not to be replicating themselves in the nation's capital city. My name is Ikaro Ata. On today's episode, we'll be discussing with FCT Secretary for Agriculture, Honorable Ezekwe Stanley Ifeanyichukwu. Good day, sir.
Good day.
Thank you very much. So let's look at the Abuja farmers and herders community. How is their relationship from your own assessment?
Their relationship is cordial, friendly, and brotherly.
In what sense?
In the sense that there is clear demarcation between areas they can graze and areas we can farm. And as a result, the herdsmen and all the farmers within the 6 area councils of the FCT live in harmony.
Okay, quickly now, from your own perspective, why is it that what we see in neighboring Nasarawa, we see some out in Kaduna, in some other communities close to and around the FCT, don't replicate itself here? Why do the farmers and the herdsmen, based on what you said, they have clear-cut demarcation here, but in some states we still see frictions?
Yeah, the issues are simple, because even when you live in a flat, maybe 3-story building, and some other person is living on the ground floor, you open your window, you pour water from there, knowing that somebody is living on the ground floor. What do? You institute a public relation where there is a policy that you don't throw anything from the up, because you know it will definitely disturb the person on the ground. So, definitely we know that there is agriculture. And agriculture includes farming. And this farming is by the farmers in their various farmlands. That is given. We also know that we have herdsmen, because for today we don't have ranching. So it is given. Therefore, you must have a constructive engagement with the farmers and the herdsmen. Constructive engagement in such a way that you don't wait until there is a clash. Before the farming season, you have constant meetings, constant dialogue between the herdsmen and the farmers. Spell out the rules, the do's and the don'ts. And when they know that, they will respect each other. And then draw a committee from the village where you have some of these farms and herdsmen. Then building with the FCT Secretariat workers, including Agricultural Secretariat. These people are drawn from the Resettlement Committee, Competition and Resettlement Committee, from Agri Secretariat, and other social and the area council. Men who have quality and integrity to talk to these herdsmen and to talk to farmers. Persuasive engagement, such that they understand that they can coexist. But if you wait until they clash, then after clashing, there will be reprisal attack. So the best approach is to engage them, constructively engage them,
Do you have that committee in place?
Yeah, it is in place. In fact, the report last week is that they even met with the various communities on 1 or 2 issues. So it is a standing committee. It is not ad hoc. The one that is ad hoc is one we are doing now, maybe with a National Orientation Agency. That one is just ad hoc, just trying to gear up on propaganda and talking to them, educating them, mass enlightenment. That is ad hoc. But what I'm saying now is permanent. It's on daily basis. So, and we have extension workers who also give us information. They give us information, and this information is nipped in the bud. And with that, the committee go to work.
Secretary, sir, if I may come in here, the country appears to be in a whole state of social dialogue now over the Fulani herdsmen and farmers' mutual coexistence and what can be done to solve the problem here. You look very wide, very vast in crop science as well as animal science and even fishery. What do you think is the best approach that we can use? Because I know you are using the grazing reserve, you are looking at ranches and several others. But if you have to sit down at the national dialogue to tell the people that the FCT is successful, from what angle will you be telling your story?
Yeah, I will be telling my story from an angle of projecting out a mid-term solution and a long-term solution. The mid-term solution is the grazing reserve. In FCT today, we have 5 grazing reserves.
What are your locations?
The locations are, one is in Pankankore, the other is in Abaji. In I don't have all of them off heart, but we have 5 in number. But I know that in Abaji, I know that in Pankankore. Now, but that is, do I call mid-term? Now, what do? We provide pasture, provide this constant dialogue, but above all, the permanent solution is ranching. You see, in FCT, we have boreholes scattered here and there. Some of these boreholes, apart from irrigation, also create some water channels where you have green vegetation during dry season. In addition, provide mud water for the cattle to drink. Because these are some of the things that lead to pollution, that will lead to crisis. So, but at the national level, one of the things we need to do, we have not even traced, when we say Fulani herdsmen, Fulani herdsmen, Fulani herdsmen, the question we should ask ourselves, a Fulani herdsman from Jos, is it the same from a Fulani herdsman from Sokoto and from Borno?
Or from Nasarawa?
Or from Nasarawa? The answer is no. Yes, they might be the same tribe, but they have different roots, different leaders, different emirs, different leaders whom they listen to. And the earlier we trace them, you must trace their leaders. Because it is a given, it is a known fact that some of these cattle they carry, they rear, is not owned by the herdsman in the bush. They are within certain lineal trade and grazing routes. So if you trace them and identify whom they are, definitely, when you are dialoguing with them, you must get those people involved. Yes, you see, one of my first umbrella will come and say, I'm Mitiela. Yes, Mitiela is a political umbrella. They are not the traditional root of the herdsmen. They are not. So, we must engage the original owners. Some of them are, maybe some leaders sitting somewhere in all the states of the north. They need to be told. In fact, the moment they give instructions to their various herdsmen, you will find that there will be a kind of peaceful solutions to some of these issues. Because you see, when you see people, merchants, taking over the problem, I see it as being even creating some of the problems we are having. That is the truth. So there must be identification, situating the problem, and getting to the root of it.
Okay, now let's come back now to one of the main one that FCT is known for, the grazing reserve, particularly the very big one at Paikonkori between Gogolada and Dobi. Yeah. How do you manage the grazing reserve? Because you're having so much of these headers are pumping into Paikonkori. How do you manage them?
Yeah.
That even among the headers themselves, they don't clash.
Yeah, that's why I said there must be continued constructive engagement, okay, and identification, situating whom they are. Situating whom they are. A herdsman does not, it's not a magic thing. You can't just wake up in the morning, you see magic of resurrection of a herdsman. That is not true. A herdsman has an origin. He is coming from a community. He is known to somebody somewhere. He is known to somebody somewhere. So, if you deal only with the herdsmen coming to graze, you make a mistake. So what would we do? What we do is we identify them, situate them from where they are coming from and who they are coming from. That's the truth.
Okay, if you're just joining us, the program is Inside Abuja, and we have been discussing with the Secretary for Agriculture in the Federal Capital Territory Administration, Honorable Nzekwe Stanley Ifeanyichukwu, and we are looking at mutual coexistence between farming communities as well as headers, and we've discussed extensively. Now, sir, let's now see if we can turn the tide a little here, because the other time we talked with the Benue State Governor, he said something that really touched that it's not just that it is the headers problem alone. Yeah. We have some farmers who also rustle cattle, we have rustlers, we have some impatient farmers who within some time they also attack them. Let's look at the farming community here. What will be their own role to the pacification of the system?
Yeah, to start with, cattle rustling. There's no business that doesn't have hazards. If we separate cattle rustling from farmers, the earlier we do that, the better. Okay. Because if, for instance, in this FCTA, we have a store stocked with certain equipment, the store officer might not be an armed robber. But maybe you come up in the morning, the store is broken. And what you do now is you invite the store officer, beat him up, lock him up. It's wrong. So, the farmers, we must separate rustling from reprisal attack. Reprisal attack is when the problem must have started. Whether there is reprisal attack or no reprisal attack, whether there is herdsmen or no herdsmen, even in their home, there is cattle rustling. That is stealing of this cow. So, what we need to do about that is the security operatives, the natives, and in fact, we are trying to come up in Dev City with tagging.
Tagging, what was tagging?
Yeah, tagging is that there is no cow that does not have origin. So if we identify and enumerate, for instance, in the FCT, that we have, let's say, 100 different groups coming from certain areas, situated in certain areas at herdsmen, we identify their cow, okay, with a tag. That tag will have a chip. So, serial A will be different from B, okay, and will be different from C, and will be different from E till the end. Now, if for any reason cow from A is found in B, we know that something has happened. And how do we identify that? At the point of marketing, that serial number must be known, because in the entire FCT, we have areas we sell cattle. And with collaboration with them, the identification will be done. So the moment there is rustling, maybe in Abaji, you alert all the sections. If you take that cattle or that cow to that particular market, the traders will know. It's a simple, I won't say all the details here because it is not for public consumption. So it's simple, just like tracking of a car. Just like tracking of a car. And the most advanced system, which is practiced in Russia, is that you can even locate where the cow is moving to or is heading to within a certain distance, if it is reported on time. It can be done. It's simple. Another system is within a vicinity, the herdsman himself can carry an equipment with some of those chips. And the moment there is rustling, there is stealing of his cow, he will trigger an alarm, and then there will be monitoring. Well, we can achieve it with good sensitization, with good training of staff that will help in doing it.
Okay, now let's look at the issue of sensitization here and advocacy here. You have a committee interfacing with the National Nutrition Agency, NOAA, and others, which the minister graciously has set up here. The question is, how far have you gone when it comes to the issue of advocacy?
Yeah, well, with due respect to the agency, our national orientation, that is one area Nigeria needs to emphasize on. Seriously need to emphasize on. You know, during the military era, we brought in the NYSC and all the rest of it. But I remember when Jerry Ghana was in, he would say, if you want to teach, you teach well. If you want to drive, drive well. If you want to do this. National orientation should be a daily thing. When we are taught civic responsibility in the primary school in those days, you are told what to do and what not to do as a Nigerian. So, our National Orientation Agency, I'm happy they are waking up, and they should be funded to orientate our citizens. First, to remove hatred within their mind. Because you know, hate, even when somebody has not committed an offense, if you hate him, mere citing him or her creates disorder in your mind. And you just raise an alarm when there's nothing to raise an alarm for, because you hate the person. A herdsman could be walking through a particular place, even when he may not have committed any offense, because there is already a drawn case of hatred or malice between the herdsman and the farmer. He could, act in a way that could gear up with a problem. But with good advocacy, with good enlightenment, with good public relation, to really make our people feel that we can coexist. Until such a time, we'll have ranches. Until such a time we have ranches, then the better for us. So what we are doing now, we've formulated our policies, which the National Orientation Agency will carry out. But beyond that is funding. Beyond that is making it a daily affair, making it a routine thing, not necessarily waiting for maybe when the situation has gone bad, we'll now start talking. we need to start talking to our citizenry to have, in fact, to love Nigeria as a country and to love ourselves as one.
Okay, so as our time is flying very quickly now, we look at all of these, the issue of the grazing reserve, the issue of the ranchings, but one other thing, we talk, do we have enough grass in Nigeria to actually go into ranching? Because from what I experienced at Sao Paulo in Brazil, we don't give attention to grasses, but they do, they research on grasses, they research daily on grasses, but we don't. For all we care, once the rain comes, the grass is proud, but they're not enough to make the cattle look very heavy.
You see, for instance, if you come to Pike on Kore, the giant grass we planted there, you will see how heady it is and the height. That one stand has a lot of foliage, a lot. So when you talk about maybe do we have grass, the grass and all the research work on it are there from even 60s. But what we should be talking about, and we have the land, my brother, we have the land. We have vast land. The entire middle belt. In fact, and we have the area, we have the zones covered by the terrain of our natural river boundaries and all the rest of it. But the issue is, have we a policy on ranching? If we do, land, if you expect a farmer to go into the market and buy all the land, it's not possible. Our land tenure is a problem. A farmer in US or a farmer in Brazil does not buy all the land he or she needs. You can't buy all because you need several thousands of hectares of land for agriculture, even if you want to grow rice. So as I am now, if I want to grow rice, you expect me to buy the land. From where will I get the money? So our land tenure policy must recognize that agriculture, no part of agriculture, no section of agriculture has to do with maybe 1 square meter of land. That's not. Even poultry. Even when you have to talk about the battery cage system in poultry, you still need land. If you want to grow yam. America, all the rice, the cereals, and the maize they grow. You ask yourself, is it not grown on land? Does the farmer buy that land? From which money? So, the government of Federal Republic of Nigeria must come out with an appropriate land policy for agriculture. Even some cases we handle, you want to put up some agricultural buildings or farmhouse, you will be required to pay the same thing, maybe a commercial building is paying. My brother, it does not work, and it cannot work. Our policies must change. We can't have a pro-rata, a uniform policy for agriculture, and we expect to, we are thinking that we'll feed our teeming population. We cannot.
Okay, sir. My time is almost up. Just some very few minutes now. As we look at the farmers' headers, our relationship, which have somewhat in some part degenerated, are you seeing a brighter future?
Yes, there's a brighter future. For instance, you know, it's the CBN, for instance, is talking about job creation. Even me sitting down here, if we have appropriate land policy by government, I can apply for 10,000 hectares of land. I'll plant it up with grasses and sell it and make money. Bring in herdsmen into it, and I will rotate it, and I'll make money from them. So there's a brighter future if we have good, appropriate policies on our land tenure system, appropriate policies even in lending. Look, I've told, in a meeting with the CBN, I told them that even the so-called 9% It's high.
What is the single-digit interest rate?
I say it is high for agriculture. Quote me, I'm an agriculturist. We must be realistic.
How low would the interest rate go?
2%. The China Exim Bank offered Nigeria $5 billion of a moratorium of about 30 years on repayment on an interest rate of 1% for all agricultural equipment.
The Chinese are the big boys.
No, that is not the issue. That's not the point. I am talking about a bank financing in Africa, telling you that they can finance all the equipments you want for your agricultural revolution at 1% interest. That's the issue. So at 9%, you are growing rice, and you think the farmer will break even? He will not. So what I'm saying in effect is that, one, there should be a reformed land tenure system for agricultural operations and production. Not only herdsmen, not only ranching, cut across board. Because that is one. Then two, there must be, people must get engaged into fodder. What do I mean by that? All the maize chaff, all the rice husk, and all the rest of it. See a way of modeling them to feed. It's business. We're not thinking along that line. So that when you have ranches, it's not only green grass that they will grow, that they will eat on, they will feed on. They'll also feed on dried farm, dry quality, if we call it waste here. It is not waste, but they are put into feed. So that there will be, in agriculture, there will be no waste. And at the same time, the advocacy on mutual relationship between all Nigerians, not only herdsmen, between farmers, herdsmen, between Igbos, Yorubas, between Hausas, Fulanis, between all of us. Because that is the first point of call. We must see Nigeria as our nation.
Okay, thank you.
And love each other.
Thank you very much. That's the central point that the Secretary for Agriculture, Honorable Nzekwe Stanley Ifeanyichukwu, is concluding it all, that we must build within the context of national love, peace and unity, because no meaningful development can be achieved in an atmosphere of rancor. For those of you who are sitting there, the message is passed, and it's despite all of these policies and programs put in place, if hatred abound in the mind, certainly we can't coexist. Apparently referring to the holy books that two cannot work together unless they agree. Thanks for being with us. My name is Iharuata. Until we come your way, same time, same station next week. Do have a fulfilling day, and please stay out